Welcome to the Madison podcast. My name is Ben Lavender, New York's favorite British mortgage broker. If you watch any of our 3,000 episodes, you should know that by now. I have a very special guest, Laura Fox, right? It's your married name is Fox, right?
Correct.
'Cause I also have you on my phone as LaQuesta.
Yes.
Got it. But so we're going by Fox.
Yes.
And I'm sure your husband is very pleased by that.
Of course.
Yes. Okay, got it. So welcome to the show, Laura. Even though I just introed you. I'm supposed to actually not intro you, so let's do that again. Intro yourself. Tell the people, you can look at the camera, you can look at Tyler. He's, when I look at him, I can't stop looking at him. It's a problem. So I try to just look at the camera. And yeah, tell everyone who you are, what you do, and why you are
So my
cool.
name is Laura Fox, and I am with Prime Realty. I've been doing this for 12 years now.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a long time.
Yeah. And that's about it.
Awesome. Okay, so 12 years in the business, so you must have a wealth of knowledge and experience. Obviously, we've done a bunch of deals together. We've known each other for, 3 years, 4 years, something like that.
A little bit before, during the pandemic is when we met.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we've actually never met in person.
Right. This is the first time.
This is the first time. Do I look as expected?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess that's a good thing. Same with you. I didn't know what to expect, actually. I just expected a charming lady. And we have a charming lady, so we're happy.
Thank you.
So, Laura, 12 years in the business. Do you give us your honest opinion? Because a lot of people that have been in this business for a long time, it's a grind, right? It is not an easy business, despite the fact that we make it look easy on social media, right? Everyone sees the celebrations, but come on, you have to be like a little bit jaded. It's got to be a little bit tough at times. How do you find enthusiasm after being in the business for so long? Because I think that's something that all veterans struggle with.
I think that I get my motivation from seeing others succeed in bringing in listings. It's a very competitive business.
I was going to say, you must be competitive.
Very competitive. And if others can do it, why can I not do it, I want to make sure that I stay on top of my A game. Education is a must. And
what kind of education?
Different trainers, like the deep dive from Keeping Current Matters, Inman News, your podcasts.
Okay.
Want to see what's going on out there, right, with the real estate business.
Yeah. So competition is a major driver for you, right? Which it happens to be for me as well. I don't know if for you it's an ego thing. For me, it's
No, it's not an ego thing.
For me
also,
it is.
yeah.
I don't like to lose.
I'm okay with losing. I'm not a sore loser at all. If I just went through 2 pregnancies back to back.
Mazel tov.
Yes.
How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel like I'm ready to go out there and get some more business.
I couldn't tell, which I guess I'm not supposed to comment on, but I really couldn't tell, so that is
yes, it was a bit of a challenge to build my family, because there's so much involved with each pregnancy and working at the same time and feeling comfortable. For me, it wasn't a comfortable thing.
Gotcha.
Being pregnant and working, it doesn't go with me.
I mean, it doesn't sound like fun.
No.
To be honest, I can't imagine the pressure. How did you manage that physically? You just work from home most of the time?
Well, for the most part, I always work from home. But if I, need to go to the office, I just go to the office here and there. And now I have a person that's full-time watching my kids, and I feel
awesome.
Great. I can go out and do some business,
And
right?
crush the business.
Crush the business, because mainly people want to make sure that you're a full-time agent, that
Really?
you have the knowledge to help them and guide them through the entire process.
I'm surprised by that. Like, people actually ask you if you're full-time?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. A lot of people.
I'm surprised. Because I feel like most agents are part-time, right?
No.
Or have, most that I meet, are part-time, but they lie and say that they're full-time. I'm not saying that's you.
No.
It's just they want to give
no,
the
I have
perception
always
that they're
been
full, 'cause-
full-time.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really, it depends, right? I've met some agents that are part-time and are spectacular agents, but I've also met a bunch that are terrible. My thought process is that part of this business, or any business in general, is that you need to get your 10,000 hours in. the more experience you have, it sharpens your tool set. I'm not saying that someone that's newer will do a bad job, especially if you have good mentorship or a good team lead, right? But it's just, it sharpens it. It took me, I would say, 4 to 5 years to semi-master the mortgage business. And that wasn't really 4 or 5 years. I put like 10 years into that time, right? I went freaking crazy.
Right.
And it just like, you have to get that in. So what, are they like straight up asking you, like you're full time? How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, how long have you been doing this? Who are you with? Why do you want to work for X company? People
are nosy.
They want to know
Mind your business.
They want to know who they're working with and why they should work with you, basically.
And what is your answer to that? That's a great question, actually. Why should people work with you, Laura?
Because I am very understanding. I put my clients first. It doesn't matter what time you call me. I'm going to make sure that I answer your concerns and questions at all times. I have people calling me 9, 10 o'clock at night. It's disturbing. Wow. It's very disturbing.
Especially when you got 2 kids to take care of, yeah.
It's very disturbing, especially when you have your family and you have to put your kids to bed. But people have a life and they feel like, that's my realtor. I have X and Y concerns. She should be able to answer those things for us. Yeah. So I had 2 sisters that would call me back to back. I mean, the both of them, they had so many questions. They were so nervous about the entire selling process. And I put them to rest with my expertise.
Yeah. That's sometimes what it takes. I feel like it's more so on the realtor side probably than the mortgage side. So, because like the way that they look at you, clients look at you as a realtor is like you're their mommy of the transaction.
100%.
Right. So, and sometimes they look at us as kind of daddy, and it's fine. There are limits. So I used to do the whole like call me at any time thing. The problem that I had, Laura, is that too many people took advantage of it. Right, is that they would just keep going. Like, I understand if you have a question and there's an emergency, like the next day, it's your
It
closing.
all depends on your clientele.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the clientele that I service, it's a much older clientele. So the people, none of the people that I'm working with are younger. They're more on mature, retire rich people. We can say something like that. Gotcha. I mean, as far as sellers is concerned, as far as buyers is concerned, I'm getting a lot of first-time buyers.
Oh, sweet.
I haven't really worked with a investor in quite some time since I moved to Long Island 5 years ago.
Where'd you move from?
From Forest Hills.
Okay, not too far.
Yeah. So, but I find that now that I made the move to Long Island, I work with more first-time buyers as opposed to when I was in Queens, where I was doing more investment homes.
I see.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, so your market's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're doing fine.
And I enjoy doing both. I am an expert when it comes to 2-family homes, and they can be with tenants, and I can help you buy a house with tenants. Or without tenants. I mean, that's a very difficult situation. Also, if you're an owner and you have a property where the tenants are giving you a slight problem, then I can come in and have a conversation with the tenant.
Okay, that's professional.
And be very professional about it. Explain to them that this needs to get done. What can I do to help you? So that we can achieve the goal of selling the house.
I appreciate that, because I went straight to unprofessionalism and violence, and you were like, let's find a solution that we can all come together and work on. Okay, so you like multis, 2-family homes. I like them too as well. I think like as a selling factor to clients, they tend to feel a little bit more comfortable with it for 2 reasons primarily. Is like talking about passive income, generational wealth, all that fun stuff has become very in. And I'm all for it as long as the right people are giving advice. And 2, a big thing that people are sensitive on is monthly payments. So when typically it's not always the case, but if you take a house in the same area, a single family, and then you take a house in the same area that's a 2-family, typically the monthly payment will end up being cheaper on the two in the same area, equal size, equal everything, when you take that rental income into consideration. But some people don't have the appetite for tenants and dealing with all that stuff. But
I agree, but also, Ben, I just listed a property in Valley Stream, and it's a mother-daughter. So you have the accessory apartment. I spoke to a buyer. Buyer is like, I'm only going to be able to qualify for this one family house with an accessory apartment only because it has the accessory apartment where she can get $18,000 to $2,000 for the one bedroom upstairs. Or if she doesn't need it, she can turn it back to 4 bedrooms. You know?
She got options.
In the future.
And fun fact, there are loan programs out there that allow you to use accessory income to qualify. A lot of people think that you can't do it and it has to be illegal too. It depends on the program, but you can use like the daughter income. In some cases, you can even use like basement income. It's a little tricky, but you can.
Okay.
Yeah, good to know. The more you know.
Yeah, right.
The more you know. So, Laura, tell me about the market in COVID, right? Like, what was it like for you, especially given that you were pregnant during the time?
Actually, I wasn't pregnant during COVID. It was the year after. But I feel like it was very busy.
It was.
People didn't care that it was COVID. People saw an opportunity. And they all jumped right at the perfect time to buy. And it was fantastic because right after that, the market had a huge increase in prices.
Yeah.
And also rates. I mean, I refinanced my house. I had when we bought our house, it was 5.25. They said my husband had bad credit, which it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Somehow it happened. And 2 years later, there we were, refinancing the house, and now we have an interest rate of 2.6.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? Well, one, congratulations. That's
Thanks.
an amazing rate. And what's interesting, Laura, is that a lot of people don't think about buying or refinancing because their credit isn't perfect, right? But the reality is that the market changes. So 2.6 with what you claim the bank said was bad credit is an incredible rate, especially for not having top-tier credit.
We checked in several websites, and the lender's response as to why do you have bad or why is the rate so high, which we couldn't understand.
Yeah, well, my point is that it's not like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a high interest rate. Because a lot of people think at the time it's
well,
high.
back then it was high because the rates were 4%.
I'm with you, but that's not my point. My point is that compared to now, where rates are in the 4s, 5s, and 6s, like people would kill to get a rate in the mid-2s.
Yes.
So sometimes it's just like people need to think long-term. They don't think long-term. They're like, oh, I'm going to wait till my credit improves. But if you didn't take action, you would have been stuck with your rate in the low 5s. Right. And now you're less than half lower, right, than what you had before. It's dramatic, right? It's really just about taking action sometimes. And like we have a saying, I've said this a million times, is that, you know, it's not always about timing the market. It's about how much time that you've had in the market. The more time, the better, especially like for first-time home buyers, right? It's the more time that you've owned the home, more equity that you're building, tax deductions, reducing the principal, the values going up, and then people just like, oh, if my credit was a little bit better. But it's like while you're waiting to fix your credit, rates are increasing, and also property prices are continuing to increase. And they're like, I'm going to save a little bit more. But the question is, can you outsave appreciation?
No, in my opinion, you buy or you sell when you're ready, when it's convenient for you. You should do it. You shouldn't wait.
Right. For a lot of people, when you're ready is sometimes it's just like a mental thing. And it just like clicks all of a sudden. And even if like that, like here's the best example that I can give you, Laura. Back when I started in the business, which I think was the beginning of 2013, I was doing a lot of business in Southeast Queens, 2 families, Cambria Heights, Springfield Gardens, Rosedale, etc. And a lot of people were buying homes, these 2 families, for like $300,000-400,000 grand with not the best credit. You know, they had credit in the high 5s, low 6s, mid 6s, which isn't bad. It's just not excellent.
Right.
And these people who bought the homes, they ended up building a substantial amount of equity. They didn't get the best rates at the time because their credit wasn't amazing, but they still got a rate in like the mid fours, I think they were at the time, maybe fives. And lo and behold, 10 years later, these two families are now worth $1.1 million.
It's amazing.
Right? It's, yeah,
the power of real estate.
Right. So, and, you know, from someone else's perspective, like they hear that and they sound really bitter. Like, why does this person with not the best credit get, you know, this amazing equity? And the answer is because they took action. Most people just stand on the sidelines and look, oh, why is this good thing happening to this person, not to me? Nothing good is going to happen if you don't do anything.
There's a way.
But there's will, there's a way, 100%. And it's not like they got a terrible rate because their credit wasn't amazing. Yeah, it was anywhere from a quarter to a higher, 0.5% higher than it should be if they had good credit. But hey, in the grand scheme of things, 10 years later, now that they've got $700K in equity, you think they care? They don't care. They're happy.
Exactly.
And what are they doing? They're pulling money out. They're literally calling me. I have a client who called me 2 days ago, and he's now looking to pull equity out and buy more properties. He's looking at a brownstone in Brooklyn for $2.5 million to buy. You know,
that's
and
amazing.
it's like what you can do with the equity is insane, but that doesn't happen unless you take action, unless you let appreciation do its work. So take action. I looked at the wrong camera again. Let me try that again. I did this last week. Take action. There we go. Do that every time. Wrong camera. Okay, so COVID, you were rocking and rolling. How do you feel that the market is now? Do you feel that it's shifting dramatically? Because I change my mind every day. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, we're going into a full-on buyer's market, and then it's like you see 50 people outside an open house and a home going into contract after 3-4 days. So what do you feel like it's at?
There's surprisingly a lot of buyers out there with the interest rates being so high. I think that we're still short on inventory.
Yes.
That's probably the reason why the rates are what they are.
So you think prices have basically been stable?
Yes, I don't see them coming down.
I've seen like price reductions on listings, but they were overpriced to begin with. Right? It's like basically the agent just told the seller what they wanted to hear to grab the listing.
Right.
And then, you know, 100K, 200K deduction. But that's not happening all the time. If it's priced fairly, it will sell. And a lot of people agree though.
Yeah, anything sells at the right price.
Yeah. And where do you think the market, I'm not going to hold you to it, but where do you think the market will be in the next 6 months to a year?
I think we're going to still have a problem of a shortage of inventory.
Which we've had in New York for a long time.
Right.
I think that the economy will crash and we're all screwed. No, I'm joking. I think it will be fine. It'll be like anything. Inventory, I'm hoping it will increase, but who knows? You know, maybe we can get some New Yorkers to retire.
Well, you
Florida.
have those people that say, "I'll wait till rates get lower," but why wait if everyone else is doing the same thing? So you're gonna have competition. I don't
even think people are too focused on interest rates, and that is the fault of the media and mortgage brokers and bankers, because we know that people care about rate, even though, like given my example that I've mentioned 10 years ago when I was doing those loans, rate doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, as long as you're comfortable with the payment, you're building equity. I'm not saying take on something you're not comfortable with or willingly get ripped off, but it just doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Why do you think I'm doing, you know, and we've been doing loans like cash out refinances for people with way higher rates than what they have now, because they want to take that cash and buy more real estate, because these investors understand that, one, interest is 100% tax deductible anyway, but two, when you're measuring cash flow and they do the math and they pull the money out of those properties and put it into other ones, they end up netting an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, sometimes more.
It's amazing.
Right? So yeah, you can't just look at the rate, you have to look at everything. You know, it's like what really determines the quality of your life, in my opinion, from a financial perspective at least, is your monthly cash flow. What's the point of having the lowest rate in the world and the lowest payment or no payment if still you're only netting a few $100 a month? Right? It doesn't really matter.
Makes a lot of sense.
I'd rather pay 20% interest on something and net an additional $5,000 a month to my monthly cash flow. It just makes more sense.
Right.
So, Okay. Well, I did want to ask you a few other questions, Laura,
Okay.
because we are running out of time.
Okay.
So, okay, one or two. It's two questions in one.
Okay.
What do you like and dislike about the business? And be real.
I think every realtor hates prospecting, but it makes it exciting once you finally get the client to say, yes, I'll work with you.
It's satisfying.
It's very satisfying. And what I love the most is the satisfaction at the end, closing day, and seeing how everyone is so happy. And thank you so much, Laura, because you went above and beyond.
Because you are the bomb.
Yes.
You knocked it out of the park. Okay, so we got our like and dislike, and we'll wrap up with this final piece, Laura, is what advice do you have as a professional, as an expert, which is a word that you've used a lot, which I love, by the way, and more people need to claim to be experts, right? Especially if you are an expert.
Yes.
What advice do you have for buyers and sellers right now, people thinking about buying and selling?
This advice is for both buyers and sellers. Don't wait. Do it at your time when you're ready. And that's all I can say.
It's also how you know that Laura isn't desperate for business, because she's not pushing you to do something you're not comfortable with. So,
Exactly.
Laura, great job. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
We appreciate you.